just so I'll kind of try to paraphrase it back, and you can tell me if I got it. So you're basically saying it's
I had asked at that meeting to get a hold of other
Right.
towns' CIP plans to see the actual scope of it, because we bantered back and forth as to the detail that goes into this plan. And the simple thing is go see what everybody else has got in their plan.
right. You're thinking this is should
I
not
think
be.
for our size town, our CIP is not gonna be a whole lot of work to put together. So we can do it here, at this level, at our planning board meetings,
Okay.
not warranting a subcommittee.
I do agree with Bob as far as getting some other citizens' input to diversify our ideas of what we believe our town should be doing in the next 5-10 years. I think that would be a definite aid. I know that we're more than capable of handling a lot of work, but we should get community input to help with decisions.
You're right, but the issue is, do we get the people to come in here? If it's a planning board meeting, we can still do the work without the 4 people on the committee that are supposed to be there according to our rules of procedure. You can't function as a committee according to the rules of procedure without your 4 civilians. So it's moot. If you don't have the 4 people, the committee goes home for the night. But as a planning board, if you have 2 people show up that are interested, then you can still function on that level and you get some diversity in it anyway.
So I don't want to disagree with Jim agreeing with me. I think that I do think that it's important to have the public input. If we go with Rick's motion and we don't form the committee, we still have the opportunity to get public input, because we can and we probably should have a public hearing on this at some point, just to inform the public and get that input, especially if we don't have the committee with members of the public on it, right? So anyway, I don't think that Rick's motion, the motion we've got on the table here, precludes getting public input. So I don't think that's a problem, right? We have other ways of getting public input. So
Okay, can I tell you some of the stuff that I've done? I did it because my life was a little bit discombobulated, so I grabbed time when I could. And originally when we started this CIP committee, I had large maps of the town and all the roads. And I went through the whole town and I marked them all up. What's where and what the conditions of the roads were. Some of them have been improved since I did that, like the 4 corners up there. That's all been redone. Ernie and I went up there and measured that out and discussed what needed to be done to fix that a long time ago before it was done. Anyway, the point is, I've done a lot of work for the roads that it just exists. Some of it has to be updated. I think the more information that you give the selectmen, or the more information that's in this report, see, I don't think it's a simple thing, because it would be irrelevant if we're simple. Personally, I think the more information that's there is the more information that can be employed by the people of the future as to how they're going to fix or do what they, for instance, the schoolhouse next door, it's a disaster, looking for a place to happen. Some of us have expertise in that area, and I say utilize what we have as expertise. Of course, there's the road committee, the heritage commission, but the Heritage Commission doesn't have expertise. They paid quite a lot of money for a pile of expertise, which some of it we can't use because it's far outside our affordable budget. So there are other things that are going to have to be done to keep that building from falling off, because that's what it's about to do. And there are things that we can do, and there are people in this town that have knowledge and talents that can contribute. We can find them and get them to participate. And I think it can be done on the planning board level. I don't think this has to get done in 2 months. And it's probably never really done anyway. It's an ongoing process because things change, time changes them, and you update your thing. I mean, that's part of what we're actually supposed to be doing here. So.
Bear in mind, Heritage Commission is appointed, we're elected.
They're appointed.
There's a difference. We're elected to a position of trust.
Yeah.
And this is what we have to do.
I'd say you call a question.
Well, anyway.
Before the question is called, I just want to make sure that that possibly it may want to be amended to add that the previous motion to form the CIP committee be either retracted or nullified.
Well, we'll make the motion. Read Rick's motion.
Rick Charette made a motion to have the CIP be worked on by the planning board.
And instead of a committee, and close the committee,
Do you agree with that?
reword that form so that it shuts the committee down. And
So
puts
dissolve, so what, you dissolve committee?
Dissolve the committee, reword it so it dissolves the committee and place it back in the planning board's venue.
I make a motion to dissolve the committee at this time and put CIP back on the table with the planning board. Have the planning board work CIP.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, Ed seconded last time, he's got a second on that.
No,
Steve said.
Steve said.
Oh, was it Steve?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, he rephrased it anyway, so it's an motion. Anybody else want to comment on all this? Okay, then let's vote. All in favor of the amendment made by Rick?
Aye.
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 I'm sorry, are we an amendment? Are we voting on an amendment?
No, not the amendment, the motion, I meant.
Okay.
I used the wrong word, pardon me.
Aye. Confused me for a minute there.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, then that's it. We're working on this as a planning board. With the desire to get a selectman involved, whether it's a selectman's rep or another selectman, two selectmen can come, anybody can come and get involved in this. And the general public, I'm gonna ask around and see if there's some people, there are people that have talent in this field. You're one of them. Well, you do, I mean, right?
That's right.
Too many years.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the knowledge is the knowledge and it can be utilized.
Ed,
I don't know if you talked to Tom Walton, but he really liked the CIP, it was really
Say that again?
I don't know if, I'm sorry, I don't know if you talked to Tom Welton about wanting to participate. I don't know what his situation is at this moment, but I know he's very interested in the CIP when we started it, but we did have a lot of work to drudge through with it. So you may want to contact him.
John's my neighbor, I'll contact him. Just bear in mind, I think he's working, what, 18 hours a day now? With a 4-hour commute.
Yeah,
So-
I know he was
But I
doing a
will
lot of heavy
contact him.
stuff.
You'll see
Because
you
he
come
was
in
interested.
and lock the door and pull the shades down.
Oh, man, poor guy.
Before we leave the
Right.
topic of CIP, I just would like to read a short segment of RSA 674:7, 674:7, which 674 is about the capital improvement. 674:5 starts the capital improvement stuff. So this is 674:7, Roman numeral 2. Whenever the planning board or the capital improvement program committee is authorized and directed to prepare a capital improvement program, every municipal department, authority, or agency, and every affected school district, board, department, or agency shall, upon request of the planning board or the capital improvement program committee, transmit to the board or committee a statement of all capital projects it proposes to undertake during the term of the program. The planning board or capital improvement program committee shall study each proposed capital project and shall advise and make recommendations to the department, authority, agency, or school district, board, department, or agency concerning the relation of its project to the capital improvement program being prepared. So I think that we have, the RSA say that we can force people to give us information.
Well, yeah, but,
And that we have to report back to them then. So it's a two-way street.
well, you know, that's really geared for the metropolitan locus.
No, I understand, but I think that this, it sort of supposes that the way that the committee
Yeah.
or the program's gonna work is that you work with the road committee and the heritage commission and so on to get
I don't think that's what that states, but go ahead.
Well, maybe we should, maybe at the
We
next meeting
want to
we'll
do
discuss
that, but I think that states any one of the particular agencies responsible for allocating resources that have future projects. I think that's what they're referring to there, not necessarily the Heritage Commission, which has no real future projects, or the Road Committee that don't get voted on by the selectmen on a budgetary level. So, yes and no. I mean, I don't think we have to follow that to the law, letter of it.
Let's bring that up when we do our first CIP work at the next meeting. I mean, that's another tool, that's more information that we need. We're gonna do this ourselves, we gotta get it right. We need more stuff like that on the table.
Well, I think we should read the RSAs.
Yeah.
And discuss how we're gonna use the RSAs or live within the RSAs. Because it is part of the RSAs, the capital improvement program, right? And so if we're gonna do it, we should make sure we're doing it right and legally.
No, I agree. I read all that. And in fact, I ran some of that by Laura Spector already. And she says the irrelevant stuff, because it's geared to larger towns and cities that have many agencies, are truly irrelevant when it comes to the legal end of things. In other words, we don't have any agencies that are in charge of money in town. We have the treasurer and the selectmen and the planning board, and that's it. Whereas the fire department, to this, to that, to whatever agency is in Concord, there's maybe 25 agencies, so that's what they're referring to in that. I already questioned some of that, you know, in preparing the statement of what the mission was for the CIP, but.
I have a question. Is the Heritage Committee, the zoning board, are they agencies?
No, they're
What else
not
we got to talk to around here? Planning
proposed.
board?
If you
The
listen to
selectmen.
that,
We have the planning board, we have the selectmen.
that's.
What else we got?
And the treasurer,
The treasurer.
who just really writes out checks.
Okay, well, involved with the money. Who else we got?
But even though the
We have a road
Heritage
agent.
Commission, they have a budget, so they can spend money.
But it's
Does that-
small.
Okay, fine.
And it's their money to spend as they see fit. It's not an agency of the town with projects
What's the road
that are
committee
being
do?
done for the communal, pardon me,
What's the road committee do, or the road commission?
spends money.
Make recommendations, so they're involved in the process.
They make recommendations to the selectmen, and the road agent gets with the selectmen, and they say, we're gonna pave this, and this is what it costs, and the road committee,
Now we're up to 3.5, what else we got?
that's it. That I know of.
All right.
There's the school, but, I mean, that's the.
Parks and Rec.
Well, you
Oh,
know,
they may have a capital project. Maybe
They-
they want to build a baseball field.
They may.
my, my
That's
point
Cliff.
is, do we have 5 parks and rec here?
Yeah, Clifton is the chair of that, I believe.
My point is, I think we got this covered.
As the selectman's representative, he will be participating as Parks and Recs Commissioner anyway.
If anybody thinks of anybody that should be contacted when we're doing CIP, then bring it up.
It's the beauty of a small
Because we don't
town.
have input in this thing. As a planning board.
So my question is, shall we put this on the agenda? Next meeting is going to be the 25th, and that's dedicated to this other business. I think we should leave it alone. But the following meeting is the 29th, or is the 9th of July, and we've already asked Ed to go and ask LRPC to come and make a presentation, SRPC. Which means that we will have limited time, if that comes to pass, to dedicate to CIP that night, probably.
We can put it on the agenda. and
We're
you
on
can
the agenda
always,
anyways.
Right.
Set it off if it's,
But-
time.
Would you just leave it the way it is? Just old
Yep.
business and leave it CIP, project cost, you know, A. If there's nothing going on, just skip to B. Just leave it the way it is.
Agreed, but I guess what I'm saying is we're going to prioritize these things, and I don't know that I'm going to run around asking Brad Williamson and all these people to come for CIP when we have this other major
Yeah.
thing coming. I don't want to load the audience, unless that might be a good thing too, because I get to watch that particular thing. I don't know. Well, anyway, Conditional, can we move on from CIP?
Ask the chairman.
Yes.
Ask the chairman.
Okay. I mean, does anybody else have any more comments they want to make about this before we leave? Okay, we leave. Conditional use application proposed appendix to the rules of procedure. We have, where's the paperwork?
Like this.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. It's right here. All right.
It's too close to you.
Yeah.
That's what, Roman Rule 20 amendment. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to go over? Would you like me to go over the changes?
I was about to ask you to go over that for us, George. Are they the ones in the light script, right?
Yes, and it should be
Okay.
italicized. I want to refer everyone to the top page of the document, which says page 16 of 16. This is of the rules of procedure. I'd like to recommend that last point, S, application for conditional use permit, be removed, because that will no longer be there according to our the motion to incorporate it into B. So that should be removed. The next page will begin Appendix B. The whole of Appendix B is included here. Page 1, nothing was changed. Page 2, the section that's emboldened and italicized says conditional use permit. That whole section was added. And you'll see in parentheses to the right of that first line, after where it says complete pages 1 through 4A and page 6, you'll see in parentheses 9 through 14, because those pages have been added here because we incorporated S into B.
What page is that now?
This is
Two.
page 2 of this. It says page 2 of B.
Appendix B.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Right. Let's see. The 1, 2, 3, 4th section where it says conditional use permit. That line where conditional use permit is, where it says complete pages 1 through 4A and page 6.
Yep.
I also added in parentheses 9 through 14, so the planning board may want to consider that. Also at the bottom of the page, where it says C plan checklist, final plan details, pages 9 through 11, that should now be changed to pages 15 through 17, because those pages have been extended out as a result of incorporating Appendix S into this.
Yes.
What I don't have in here also is, and I want to refer back to that section where it says conditional use permit. I've just seen this right now, I apologize for that. Where it says page 6 of Appendix S, that should be removed.
And above that, Appendix X.
Yes, all the references to Appendix S should be removed, if the planning board so decides to do that. Okay, next page, please, will be page 3. Appendix B, nothing was changed there. 3A, nothing. 4. Again, near the bottom of the page where it says conditional use permit fees, all italicized, all those were still incorporated. 4A, no changes. 5, no changes. Okay, all of 6, as the motion was to amend page 6 to change page 6 of B and incorporate page 6 of S because there were some differences. So that has now been incorporated. Page 7, no changes. 7A, no changes. 8, no changes. 8A, no changes. Starting from page 9 through pages 11 is the Appendix S that has been incorporated into now Appendix B. I'm sorry, page 9, 10, 11, 12, keep on going.
13, 14.
14, okay, good. Now, pages 15 to 17, I believe it is, have been displaced as a result of incorporating Appendix S.
So it's only typographical.
All right, all it is that, I'm just letting you know that this has just been moved. These were previously in other pages as a part of Appendix B. So this plan checklist has just been moved further on Appendix B. Okay, that's all of Appendix B. Now, next page will be Appendix N, because these were also, there were some changes that were made here. One of them, previously the top line where it says conditional use permit, but also, as at the last meeting, the motion was to add the words conditional use permit in the second and third paragraphs. Okay. The same thing was done with Appendix O, which is the next page. Appendix P, same thing. Appendix Q was a little bit different. What happened was the words conditional use permit was there, but instead of having the word and or colon, we instead replaced that with a slash, as with the rest of the references on there. Same thing with Appendix O, which is the next page. And that is the whole document.
Good job.
Good job, George.
Good job, George.
This was all George this time.
Good man.
Good job, George, again.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to amend is this a working document that we've got? Amend the working document as George indicated, removing references to Appendix S. Is that all that's different here, George? Is just the three references to Appendix S that we should change?
Well, that and that first page that wasn't discussed in the motion, and also the reference, right, sorry.
And the renumbering of pages 15, or what's now 15 and through whatever. Okay, so I move that we amend the conditional use permit working document to remove references to Appendix S and do the appropriate renumbering, the necessary renumbering as George has indicated, to fully incorporate what used to be Appendix S into Appendix B.
And this too.
That's a reference to Appendix S.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm assuming that that's included in that.
We have a second. Any other discussion on changes that anyone would like to make at this point?
Everything on S is now in B, correct?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? It is now no longer a working document.
Well, the motion was to amend the working document.
I'm sorry, it is now an amended working document. I beg your pardon. That's what I meant.
If I'm not mistaken, your amendment was your motion was for the amendment of Appendix B, but what about the adjustments to the other appendix?
My motion was intended to cover the stuff that George, if it wasn't clear, I apologize. It was the full discussion of changes that
Right, because there was many other appendices.
that make up the working document. When I referred to working document, if there's any confusion, we should fix, we should.
Yes.
That was the alterations to the working document, the rest has already been discussed.
Do we want to change this?
Is it clear enough for you, George?
Yes, I just want, just for clarity's sake, all of the other changes that we had in there were a previous motion. The only ones were the ones that were highlighted by Rob just now.
Okay.
Good, so we're covered.
Did everyone have the understanding that when the motion said working document included all of the changes that George went over?
Yes, I thought that.
Okay, just want to make sure for the record that.
We included renumbering, besides, of course, the reference to Appendix S, the renumbering was the only major change.
Right.
Well, the only change, actually.
So what's our next step here?
Well,
Is our next step to have a motion to amend the rules of procedure? Or do we have to have this in everyone's hands 10 days ahead?
do we need a public hearing on this? I don't.
That's what I was wondering, it's more.
No,
We don't need a public hearing on this, I don't think.
Not on the rules of
Clerical
procedure.
changes.
So we are going to then vote to change the rules of procedure to this.
I think that if I recall correct, and correct me if I get this wrong, we need to distribute this, we probably should look it up in the rules of procedure, we need to distribute this to everybody with the changes that the amendments we just made, 10 days prior to voting on a change to the rules of procedure.
Right.
So at our next meeting, assuming that George makes these changes and emails it out to us, we could actually vote to change the rules of procedure next meeting, I think.
I think it's 10 days, I'll look.
It's kind of silly for just that clerical change.
I think it's a great rule because.
It's a great rule, but
Check
it
everything.
seems with that minor part, but it is a great rule, but it just seems a little drawn out.
It'd be really bad if one day there were only 4 members that made up a quorum and they decided to rewrite the rules of procedure and vote them in
Oh, yeah.
all at the same
I
time.
just need, after all the months of hammering on this and getting it straightened out,
I need to put those
the
little
little snippet.
documents.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's actually on the working document, it's the top of the first page, amendments 2.1. The rules of procedure may be amended by vote of a majority of all regular members of the board, provided that a printed copy of such amendments is in the hands of each member 1 week or more immediately preceding the meeting at which the vote is to be taken. After approval of any amendments, the chair shall file a copy of the amended rules with the town clerk, provide a copy to the board of selectmen, and provide a copy to each board member and alternate. So it's 1 week, not 10 days.
Yep.
So
5 business days?
whatever a week means.
Could be one of 2 things.
Could be a lot of things, but
Is that a literal week?
Well, we could actually vote it on a special meeting if we wanted to slide it.
I would put it on the agenda because it's a
Yeah.
fairly quick and straightforward
Yeah,
thing.
Yeah, are you gonna have this
We've worked
email
on it
to
so
us?
much.
Yes.
Okay, then we'll be able to review it within plenty of time, and then we'll vote on it next meeting. Okay,
should invite Tom.
Oh, he'd be only doing somersaults.
He didn't put in months of work on this, so.
I presume that we are done with that for the moment. Anybody else have any other comments on it? No. Permits, clarification of different types of applications. I stated that I was going to work on this, and I have. I just have not finished it. It's in my computer. I got a lot of work to do at night. I put about 3 hours in on it, and a lot of thinking, trying to get the appropriate parameters for different types of applications, because we went through this with Moose Mountain. We all discussed that before. I didn't bring a work in progress here tonight. I'm just going to have to bring it next time. I have not had the time to finish it. I just had too much night work to do. So I will say to you, I can email you what I've done so far, and you can look at it. If anybody wants me to, I'll do that. I don't have a problem with that. I just didn't make copies of. I've made some changes in, the permits for the rec zone, for subdivision. We don't have to require the same things for all the different permits that are necessary, because some of it's just redundant or unnecessary. So if you want, I'll sit down and email. If not, I'll just bring it to the next meeting and hand it out.
Whatever's comfortable.
I'm comfortable with bringing it to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. So, we'll move on to new business. Well, new business kind of covers this email that we are discussing. That's new business now. Rob?
So possible new business.
Yeah.
I know that from watching GovernmentOversite.com, I wasn't able to make the selectmen's meeting, but I did notice that there were some public comments regarding the yard sale on Route 109. And I know that Eddie maybe Eddie can give us an update on what the status of that is, if that's an issue that's outstanding.
No, it's not an issue.
Okay.
The,
Can you describe what the homeowner is doing that
he's having a yard sale twice a year, Memorial Day and Labor